140 years of South Korea-France relations. Since diplomatic ties were forged in 1886, culture stands out as one of the earliest and most enduring pillars of the relationship. At the heart of it is the Guimet National Museum of Asian Art. Musée Guimet is Europe's leading museum of Asian artwork and considered the continent's most significant repository of Korean cultural heritage. After the museum opened in 1889, only 3 years after Korea and France formally established relations, Guimet launched its Korean galleries, embedding Korea into the museum's core as part of its institutional legacy. Today, as interest in Korean culture expands from popular trends to deeper historical understanding, Guimet is preparing a landmark year of exhibitions to commemorate the anniversary, linking ancient heritage, modern creativity, and contemporary cultural dialogue. Arirang TV speaks with Museum President Dr. Yannick Lintz. Specialising in ancient Persian collections and cultural heritage, Lintz has been recognised for her curatorial excellence, working for 2 decades at the Louvre on major international exhibitions and building global partnerships. She is a Knight of the French Order of Merit, a Knight of the Legion of Honour, and an Officer of Arts and Letters. Recognitions of her contribution to cultural preservation and international arts dialogue. Since taking the helm at Guimet, Lintz has pushed to broaden the museum's reach, promoting immersive programmes, international research collaborations, and exhibitions that bridge Eastern and Western cultural understanding. Thank you, Dr. Lintz, so much for making time for us today.
It's a pleasure for me to welcome you here in Guimet Museum.
Musée Guimet is very well known for being the biggest museum in Europe, holding Korean art, Asian art. And well, first, could you introduce your Korean collection and why it matters as a reference point for Korean art in Europe?
Yes, you're right. We are so lucky to have one of the most important in the world, I should say. And what is also symbolic for us is our museum opened in 1889, and 4 years later, in 1893, we opened Korean galleries. So it's really linked in the history of the museum, and it was at this time in the heart of the collection. So that's why it's of course still now, after many acquisitions, donation, one of the most important in the world, and I should say the most important in Europe. And what is also for us important, 1893 is an important date. It's just 4 years after the opening of the museum, and it's 7 years after the opening of the diplomatic relation between Korea and France. So I think it symbolizes very well the importance of Korea in this museum.
Really, Musée Guimet is one of the very early milestones of the Korea-France relationship, so that really is very remarkable. And of course, your museum, it hosts a very wide collection of Korean sculpture, Buddhist arts. So what do these pieces reveal about Korea's place in East Asian art history?
We are lucky to have a very large collection on a chronological point of view. With pieces from the old times or for the first kingdoms of Korea from the 10th century, for instance. But it also reveals all the richness of Korean art, because we have all type of decorative arts, furniture, ceramics, but also wonderful paintings. And I think it's the place to come if we want to discover what is Korean art history. And what is also interesting in Guimet, here we are in one of the 3 Korean galleries of the museum, but there you have Japanese art and there you have Chinese art. So it's also very useful for visitors to understand in the Eastern Asian art what is the place of Korea.
I see. So from a curatorial perspective, what do you think are still maybe under-recognized by the European audience when it comes to Korean art?
My opinion is that here in Europe, we don't know very well Korean art, and it's our responsibility, our mission to promote it better. That's why this year, 2026, we will have a special Korean season in Musée Guimet. Because here, because of the relation with Japan, for instance, and what we call sometimes Orientalism during 19th century, people here know better Japanese art, for instance. They know a little about Chinese porcelain or Chinese calligraphy, but it's for them very difficult to understand the place of Korean arts in this area of Eastern Asia. So I will be happy if in 1 year, with all the visitors we are expecting here for this Korean season, that I can hear, now I understand what, and I see what is Korean art.
You play a very important, very crucial role in promoting Korean art, of course, here in France. And would you say that the recognition has been growing by the year?
Yes, I think, of course, everyone knows about the importance of the Hallyu movement, the K-pop, K-beauty. And we will have here, as the first exhibition of the Korean year in March, next March, a K-beauty exhibition. So I think to be able to be attractive for people to discover Korean art, I think it's interesting to enter in it by the present phenomenon of K-pop, K-beauty. And I think it's a good way to understand the past through the present.
That's right. And I believe many Korean artists and curators believe that France has a very high standards when it comes to appreciating culture and heritage. And what do you think really matters? What do you think is the point that can get across to the French and wider European audience?
I think that French people like beauty, like Korean people, I think. And when we look at some of your masterpieces of art, we see how delicate is the vision of nature, the way to use materials like ceramic. You have so many, you had in the past and still now, so talented ceramic artists. So I think even if people here don't know much about Korean history, I think that the sense of Korean artists to draw, to paint, or to make beauty is, I think, enough, more or less. Maybe our visitors will not have all the codes about Buddhism, about religion, about the symbolic way to represent nature, flowers, etc. But sometimes it's not necessary to understand. It's just important to take pleasure to discover something perfect. Perfect in shape, perfect in image, and it's the beginning to learn how to like a country, I think.
Your curators have a very extensive understanding and appreciation for the history and the context of where these pieces come from. So how do you really balance, scholarly research, conservation, and also public access at the same time?
In a museum, I think it's always important to develop both. To develop knowledges about our collections, so about art history, but also to develop the possibility to explain those knowledges to our public, to be open to simple explanation for our public. So yes, we are very ambitious about research on Korean art. We have a research center called Villa Guimet. Villa Guimet developed in the past and will develop in the future several important programs of research. We are lucky to have a very good curator, Mr. Arnaud Bertrand, who is really a specialist of Korean art. He is teaching Korean art history in the famous École du Louvre, which is the most important university for art history. And we published, for instance, last year, due to Overseas Korean Foundation Heritage, a catalogue in Korean and French on pre-modern Korean art in our collection. It's an example of what we would like to do, to share with the Korean specialists. For instance, this year we are working with Gyeongju National Museum on Silla Kingdom, and we will be very honored to welcome here some of those treasures. And of course, it's a wonderful collaboration between our curator and the curators of the National Museum.
I see, and my sources have told me that Guimet is going to host one of the landmark events of next year to celebrate 140 years of Korea-France relations by holding an exhibition as well on the Silla dynasty in the latter half of the year. Well, what are your plans? What are some of your biggest plans for next year to celebrate that relationship?
So we will have, beginning in March, 3 main exhibitions. One after the other, more or less. The first one, as I could tell you, will be about Korean beauty, of course focused on K-beauty, but because we are in Guimet, we always like to link the past and the present, and so to explain, to show K-beauty to people here, explaining the link with a more traditional vision of beauty in Korean culture. The second exhibition, which will start in May, will be, of course, the biggest event here, because we will be so lucky to welcome about 120 national treasures from Silla period from Gyeongju Museum with golden crown of the king, etc. It was, I should say, that the museum was so generous with us, and I'm sure that this will be very popular here. And because we also wanted to celebrate art history, pre-modern art history through your tradition of Czech-Korea. I'm not sure that my accent is excellent. So we will have a big exhibition of Czech-Korea, this very specific tradition, but what is also for us an innovation, we will compare the tradition with the French tradition during the Enlightenment, during 18th century, so during Joseon time in Korea, with some prestigious loans coming from the Louvre Museum. So for the first time, we will see some of your famous Czech curry compared to this tradition in Europe through the Louvre collection during the 18th century. So those are the three main milestones of this very rich season. But we also have an auditorium, and of course we will have several programs devoted to Korean cinema, to Korean music, classical music, but K-pop also. We will have also something that everyone can see in Paris if they go up to the Eiffel Tower. It's a commission of an art piece, monumental art piece to a Korean artist, Sulgi Lee. It will start in beginning of April. You will see on the facade Korean art piece from Sulgi Lee all over the year until December 26. That will show that Guimet is live in Korea more or less this year.
It's really the best way to bilaterally celebrate our friendship and also Korean heritage as well. And for you being a veteran in the field, what was most impressionable about Korean art from your perspective?
Oh, it's a difficult question. It depends on what type of Korean art. I should say that I have many Korean friends that are artists. So, of course, I have a lot of interest for contemporary Korean art. And in the field of this very rich Asian creation in contemporary art, I see, of course, I think, for example, on someone that is Korean, even if he lives in Japan, Liu Fan, for instance. Liu Fan is now a star in the West, here in France, in United States. I'm honored to know him, and I see that I know other artists also from Korea. What I see, it's always a special philosophy that is, for me, coming from this Buddhist tradition, which is a lot of serenity, and you will feel it, I think, with the art piece that Sulgi Lee will show on the facade. It's something very rigorous that inspires peace, I think.
Guimet is known to have a very excellent Korean restaurant. So tell us more about, what's your favorite on the menu and how it's been received by the French public.
Oh, yes. We are very lucky to have this new restaurant that opened almost 1 year ago now. And of course, there was a competition between Japanese cooking, Chinese cooking, Korean cooking. But we are lucky to have now this Korean chef, Chef Lee, who is one of the best in Paris. I try not to go every day. I love Korean food, but I try not to go every day. But it's difficult for me to choose because I love many things. So I will not choose now, but I like a lot. Even I try to cook it now at home.
And finally, as we look forward into the year of 2026, the 140th year of Korea-France relations, what kind of meaningful developments do you hope to see as cultural institutions in particular expand cooperation?
Of course, such a special celebration of the 140 years diplomatic relation between Korea and France has to be an opportunity to develop more relation and to build a fundamental project for the future. What I can see is by preparing this special year here in Guimet, in partnership with several museums, like of course the National Museum, the Palace Museum, the Modern and Contemporary Art Museum, Gyeongju Museum. It's always a way to become very closed because we build together those events, and because we become very closed, we have a lot of ideas of what we could do in the future. Of course, exhibitions, books, conference, but also for me what is important is to know better all Korean artists, musicians, performers, of course the Korean cinema. So at the end of 26, what I can tell you, it will not be the end of Korean events here in Guimet Museum.
I see there's more to come, and we hope to see you later in the year in Seoul. Thank you very much for your time, Dr. Lintz.
Thank you.